tasting in my room with the Japanese contingent, and then my mother broke up the party. I have witnesses.
Yes, it's true.
It was quiet. Everything was fine. We were enjoying ourselves. There's a knock at the door, and there is the Arta Hexa. I brought my friends. Where's the booze?
You can be happy she didn't kick in the door.
Oh, Mom said she had a date with you? Do I have to call you Daddy?
Don't you usually?
Is that what you wish? But you could call me Elvis.
Is anybody else getting aroused by this? Is it just me? Oh, I'm sorry. Is this Estral A?
Yes.
Thank you.
Silver? I already flipped them off, don't worry.
Oh!
Go with the time.
Because all of my sake was consumed by strangers upstairs.
The that one and the other one, I stopped everyone else from drinking.
Thank you.
Shit.
That, what?
That's what we do.
Use that kind of language.
Normally if someone says that to me, I'll sit on the floor directly. I won't find a chair to sit.
Should win this too.
Yes.
Sit on the ass up here.
Don't use that language with your friend.
It's not my friend, it's Dhary. He's more than a friend.
They were friends in it.
Tomorrow. Yes. I've been hanging out with Japanese people. I don't know whether they speak English, Japanese, or German, or French. Sorry? Oh, please. She's from Wales. We can't hunt whales where I come from. Just put it in your face. You're like, what is that you're drinking? Oh, a zombie. You know why it's called a zombie? Wait about 20
Explaining on the
minutes,
snacks
you'll
and
find out.
everyone's welcome to them. No, just
It'll have
camping.
the opposite effect if you're zombie already.
So that's my con war story, when I was trying to have a nice, quiet, civilized sake tasting with my Japanese friends, and my party got busted up by my mother and her German hooligan friends, and the Dane as well.
Jawohl.
May I remind you of Confuzzle? Like 4 years ago?
Security.
I don't remember Confuzzle 4 years ago.
You don't? Well, you're getting old.
Oh, wait, was that? Oh, that one.
That one.
Well, they don't need to hear it. Do we get microphones?
Yes.
Yes.
And they're working.
There's been 2 sound checks.
Oh, wait. Microphones. These are very large. They're very heavy. These are macrophones. Vincent, that's my joke for the night.
It is on.
Is it? How do you change this? Are you sure? Turn that knob. This knob?
I'm not a knob.
That's not, okay, that one's all the way out. This one's all the way
Hello,
out.
hello, hello.
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 Freiheit und Recht und Freiheit für das Technical Assistance, danke.
At least it's not the Singaporean national anthem.
When you relate to your own war story, no?
I would never, except for a single time.
Rude.
And it was, okay, I was never late for a war story panel. I was late for an art auction because for the first time in the 25-year history of Eurofurence, you fucking started on time, didn't you? I was 2 minutes late. And they're like, where were you? We're late and it's your fault.
I just remember kicking down your door. By the way, really nice stocks you hit them.
Dhary, I remember kicking down your door.
Oh.
Don't tell that story again.
Too late.
No Americans on my roof again.
La 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 la.
Did you have Americans on your roof?
I had Americans on the roof.
I had Americans on my roof.
And American handcuffs. And I don't mean you or your mother.
Hey, Dhary. You know that my My father passed away about 4 years ago, right? Yes. And it's a son's duty to go through his father's belongings.
I know you. Please
Later?
don't continue.
Later, when there's no audience, we'll have a discussion.
No. It is.
Unless they want to give me money. Ah, Herr Bürgermeister, guten Abend. Das ist der Bürgermeister von Nürnberg.
Oh, that's the second.
Only McDonald's.
That's the second.
Yes,
Oh yeah, this gentleman there actually seen it all every single year.
and he's still here. Yay!
But look at all those gray hair.
He's actually 31 years old. This is what being on staff at convention will do to you. What time is it? Are we starting yet?
15 seconds.
No, not yet. How many seconds?
Actually, the picture all by SecOps is all the security up in one car.
I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Has somebody got a charity collection box?
I'll have to.
Yeah, charity connect. I'll take care of it. Don't worry, you can trust me. Here, I'll just put this in this bottle up here.
Can somebody
It's
tell the
like a
bottom
£5
salary
note.
to that man?
They don't sell anything to me, they give it to me for free. Okay, we finally got them trained. Oh, it's time.
Yes, sir.
We finally had them trained. For years, Eurofurence would purchase some fine Riesling aus Moselland and they would put it behind the bar. But then the bartenders would not be given the message. So I would go and say, I would like some Riesling. We don't have any Riesling. And I'd say, but you're supposed to have some Riesling there. No, we know nothing about it. And Night Fox would get very angry. And the next year he'd tell them, give them to Dr. Conway. And I would go and say, I'd like Riesling. We don't know about any Riesling. This year, we have a code word. Riesling für der Dumme Amerikaner. I always get my Riesling.
As my bearded friend who just left explained earlier, the little American on the roof. Oh yes, I told you that one. That was really good.
I think you're about to, but hold that close to your face. They want to hear you spit. Hello. Oh, I love it when he does
Oh,
that.
it was actually quite fun. Shift
Listen.
ending at 5 a.m. in the morning, and I went to bed. And I finally I think I got to sleep about 10 minutes later, and I slept for like 5 minutes, and somebody knocked on my door and said, this is fucking housekeeping. So I ignored it, and the knocking got louder and louder and louder, and I swear to God somebody kicked down my door. And my bearded friend, who just left unfortunately, was standing in front of my door. He was called Axeman back in the days because he is actually a lumberjack. That's his job. This guy, right over there.
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay with the people that like to work all day.
Oh, that's great.
He's a
But he's
lumberjack
not
and he's
okay.
okay. But
Now, the little story where you were standing in my door at 5 a.m. in the morning telling me, Dhary, there's somebody on the roof.
yes. So we were, it was Eurofurence 23. And I am sat down on earlier shift
Still in his pocket.
and we get a call from the hotel. There is someone on the roof. Of course. And we go out and we check, and I asked the dispatch, our calling service, do you know who is SESO? Who is supposed to call the
I'm
shots?
sorry, SESO?
Security, what's the...
Executive Security Officer on standby.
Yes.
German.
So essentially, he is the general, but he's sleeping.
Oh, okay.
And it says, Dhary is the SESO. So, do you have the number for Dhary's room? No, I can't find it. Do you have his phone number? No, I can't find it. I tried to call him on Telegram. He's got it blocked because he's Dhary. Otherwise, he would get furries all the time going, fuck me, daddy.
Messages?
I got you actually freed up.
Sorry, continue.
So, two people rush to the roof. And I go, all right, I'll get a hold of Dhary. And because I kind of know Dhary, I know he also sleeps quite late. I think it was about 8, not 5. And it was very early in the morning, and you sleep late. I go up to his room. If any of you have watched The Shining,
Come and play with us, Dhary.
No, not even that.
Oh.
The scene with the fire axe.
Here's Bobaka.
Here's Axeman! Sorry, we've got someone on the roof. We've got someone on the roof! And Dhary runs out. And the very moment Dhary has gotten dressed and gotten out, we get a call from the radio going, yeah, we got him down from the roof, but Dhary, come down to Secops anyway. I was not particularly popular that morning.
No, we were not. Lots of coffee made it up though.
So, if anybody's not clear why you're sitting here in Estral Hall A, this is called the Convention War Stories Panel, sometimes the Convention Horror Stories Panel. Okay, Dhary has been involved in running Eurofurence for a long, long time. I have been involved in running furry conventions since they started. And I hear so many people say to me, I'd like to run a furry convention. No, you don't. Because the measure of a convention, what allows us to measure our success, is when the attendees go home and they go onto Twitter and they say, the convention ran so smoothly, and we say, yes, it did. If you don't see it, then it's not a problem. But we have to deal with it. So we're up here to tell you some of the shit that has happened behind the scenes that you had no idea was going on. I let Dhary start, because I was just enjoying, you heard this, I was having a fucking nice party in my room, and my mother crashed the party with a bunch of goddamn Germans and turned it into a bacchanal with beer and steins and singing and people stomping around and slapping each other. And stroopwafels, that was the Dutch. I don't know where the stroopwafels came from. Why the fuck were the stroopwafels at my sake party? I'm sorry. Dhary, why don't you tell these folk, tell them some of the things that we generally don't let them know about until 2 years later.
How about the... Oh yeah, Miss G. Miss G was amazing.
Okay, by the way, incident, we have our names for people. Ms. G, Mr. H, Mr. Saturday, so please continue.
That cocktail is really going. Wow. Miss G, let's call her that, went to the gym here in Estrella and found it funny to take a photo. But not any photo, but, well, you would say upskirt shot. Does that make sense?
Sorry, I had a reaction, I'm sorry.
Yeah, hanging around in the gym, and obviously that's a bit borderline, but putting that on a fucking public telegram channel is stupid. So, me being my nice self, texted her and said, is this you? Yeah. Is this in Estrella? Yeah. Good, please pack your bags, you have 2 hours to leave the compound. And I was ignored. The entire evening I was ignored. I texted again and said, look, I don't want to cause any trouble. I'm not banning you. Just leave this here, please. You clearly violated the rules, and everything will be fine. I was ignored. 3 hours later, I got a call from my husband, being in a room or suite or something in the first wing, all the way upstairs. Yeah, this G that you were looking for is sitting here in this room party. So we went up there and asked her kindly to leave. She refused, so we forcefully removed her from the room. And then she completely kicked off. We called in-house security on her, and she started debating and said, oh God, I want the police, I want the police. Police came. At that point, we had her down in the lobby, sitting down waiting for the cops. The cops came in, and one of our paramedics, little did they know, is a lawyer. The paramedic, she was sitting next to Miss G on the sofa down at the lobby and explaining to her why it's really stupid to call the cops after you've been evicted from a hotel. The cops came, looked at her and said, is this the woman? Yeah, that's her. And who's the other woman next to her? That's our lawyer. And the cop said, "You have a fucking lawyer?" She was never seen again.
For those of you who may not know, I run Amplifon. It's sort of Eurofurence's counterpart in the United States. Ours is in the city of Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. I'm saying right, Pittsburgh. We've had that situation as well. Not the same story, but the same circumstance. Somebody has violated the rules. I want the police. Really? Are you sure? I'll call them. And they always say, yes, I want the police here. The police work for me in that town. I love it when they call the cops and say, hi, Sam. I say, that one. They say, oh, step out of the room, please. Because this is America. I just close the door. And the person that wanted the police called then resists arrest. They fall down the stairs. They run their face into the wall several times while the police valiantly try to stop them. Are we being filmed? I probably shouldn't. On the advice of my counsel, I think I'm going to stop the story right now and tell something a little less actionable in court. Has anything? Did it? You know, here's the thing. I don't think anything really went wrong this year at Anthrocon. Okay. In terms of scale, with 9,500 people, it went remarkably smoothly. We did have one fire alarm in one of my hotels. I have 11 hotels. One of my hotels had a fire alarm that caused an evacuation, and it happened on Friday night, I believe. And it was caused by some people, I think you call it hot boxing. Is that what it's called? Hot boxing in a room, where a bunch of people with their electronic vapes all wanted to fill a room with the electronic vape smoke, and it set off the fire alarm. Shit happens. But you know what? That room was rented by someone whose name is on the record. And I just was thinking, I have not yet sent a message to that person. I thought, maybe as a courtesy to my colleague, I might invite Dhary to look over my shoulder. And I send the email, Dear Mr. H, I understand there was a small misunderstanding between you and the management of the hotel on Friday night. Could you perhaps help me understand what happened? Signed, Uncle Kage. I get hard thinking of this. This makes me happy in my pants. I'm looking forward to this. Because, okay, I have an Anthrocon cell phone. And I use it to call people when I need to call them after the convention. If somebody does something wrong at the convention, it's important for me to be able to gauge, are they apologetic? And is it likely to happen again? If they feel badly, and I don't think it's going to happen again, okay, my point has been made. I called up the people who had glued the bad dragon samples to the door of their room. I called them up and said, hello, this is Uncle Kage. I just wanted to ask, I'm having trouble understanding this report from the hotel. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm hoping you can help me understand it. Something about a bunch of dildos being glued to the door of the hotel room, and for some reason your name is all over this report? Can you help me understand this? I might have gone too far. because 45 seconds later, the poor fellow was sobbing hysterically and pleading me for mercy. The rest of the phone call was me trying to talk him down. No, it's okay. It's all right. No, put down the knife. It's fine. It's okay. Just don't do it again, all right? I'm not mad. Just don't do it again. That's not going to be a problem. You should try it. You should have a phone call. Hello, this is Dhary. Just do it.
That's something already.
Your turn.
Okay. What would you like? Oh, how about Mr. H and Eurofurence version?
Eurofurence, Mr. H.
I think I told you this one before. We had a creeper, a fursuit creeper for years.
Does everybody understand what a creeper is? Okay, does anybody not understand when we... Okay, I just want to make sure you understand.
We're talking about...
the gentleman back there doesn't know what a creeper... You are a creeper. The gentleman... Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. He's an old friend. I can say that. Okay, a creeper is, you can understand, somebody who... Creeps. Continue, Dhary, I'm
It's
sorry.
that simple. The person was stalking fursuiters, groping random people in fursuit. He just thought that the costume would be concept, whatever. And this person did it for years, but he was stupid enough to do it, but smart enough not to get caught. We had nothing on him. We had no CCTV back in the days. We had no footage, no recording. We had witnesses, but nothing we could really use to kick him out. We were far too lenient back in the days. Now, this person went on with his behavior for 2 years, until one day, I got in a fursuit myself. And this fursuit wasn't any fursuit, it was a really famous fursuit. He was known from a lot of videos Uncle Kage has on his desktop. And quite known. Anyways, I was roaming the lobby with them, standing with friends, talking with them in the suit, when suddenly somebody comes from behind and literally grabs my crotch. I have to admit I was a bit drunk. I turned around and punched him. I regret that first it was a soft. This guy really didn't get the message whatsoever. I walked away to a different group, talked, and not 5 minutes later I had this guy behind me again. So I stood in front of him in this really known fursuit and just waved at him. Come to me. He made him follow me through the entire lobby back to the fursuit lounge. Took my hat off and said, now you have 1 hour to pack your bags and I never want to see you here again. And I swear, to this very day, fursuiters come to me and thank me.
I shall share a story. If you have something to tell the chairman or any senior staff member, please be very cognizant. Pay a lot of attention to how you say it. This one goes back to Philadelphia. I recall that I was being Uncle Kage somewhere, and one of my staff members came up and said, Uncle Kage, the police are here, they want to talk to you. Okay. I hear that every year, I'm sorry, but that was the first time. And that made me very scared. It's like, what the shit is going on? So I... And I went to the lobby, and there were 3, this is Philadelphia, 3 of the biggest, blackest, scariest police officers in body armor and Kevlar and riot gear than you can imagine. And giant, Kalashnikov rifles on their hips, which they can handle with one hand because they're huge people. And they're standing there. You're a police officer, correct? And I went up. Hi. Down here. I'm Dr. Cobb. They looked down and said, are you the man in charge? Yeah. Yes, sir, I am. They said, can we take some pictures? I said, you mean, is there like an issue with crime scene? No, we just want some pictures. Show the people. Sure! Okay, yeah, just come on in! And these guys are like, here, we're gonna get pictures of first. That was the first photo, I think the first photo in history, of an active duty police officer in uniform wearing a fursuit hat. Meanwhile, I'm pissing my pants upstairs. Oh my God! Oh, yeah. Don't do that to the chairman. I have a staff member. I love him to pieces. He's like a brother to me, which means I'm going to punch him all the time. Do you have a staff member that does this? Dhary, we have a problem. The fucking asshole does that to me every year! What? He says, I don't want to talk about it now. No, we'll have to talk about it later. Just fucking tell me what the problem is! You're going to be mad. Just tell me. Are you sure? Yes! I just spoke to the convention center. They don't have enough tablecloths for the dealers.
Oh no.
Oh, that's not a problem. We'll cover the tables with your skin.
Bed sheets. Use bed sheets.
Sorry, you didn't hear that, did you? Your turn, I'm going to have a wish.
There's something I actually wanted to tell you.
Yes.
Remember your offer like 2, 3, 4 years ago?
Yes.
I'm going to book the flights tomorrow. Your mother invited me over for dinner.
That's not exactly what I had in mind.
Wine stream.
Yeah, we're going to make it a wine. We have to.
Anyways, staff members. How about hotel staff members?
Oh, hotel staff members are wonderful.
Amazing.
We love hotel staff members.
Yeah, like 2 years ago when there was that Pause on Fire dance upstairs and the air conditioning was on fire just above.
That's a new event. Air conditioning on fire.
Talking about not seeing what's going on behind the scenes.
Don't say not see.
No. Sorry. I did not see that coming. I'm sorry. Up on the roof, the air conditioning was on fire. Like literally.
Okay, I'm sorry. He's not joking. We're talking the fucking thing caught fire.
Yeah, it just started burning. While there was this dance going on underneath, nobody noticed anything except temperature went up a little bit inside. And while they were extinguishing the fire on the roof, the dance carried on. This is what happens in the background. And they fixed it the next morning by putting a big ass air conditioning unit outside on the parking lot, like a mobile unit. Nicely done though. Oh, ring back.
Ring back!
The best convention hotel was the original Ringberg in Seoul. There's no doubt. It was just a magnificent, fantastic hotel. The stuff back then was amazing. Unfortunately, they left after Eurofurence left. But
Actually, they did. When we left, the staff left.
yeah, this is not joke. Anyways, I distinctively remember my first and one of my most beloved war stories is when I had very, very early morning shift at Eurofurence 13. So that was 12 years ago now. 12 years ago. And I walked down my corridor and there was a hotel room door open at 8 in the morning. A little bit weird. So I went there, knocked, said, "Morning, security, your door's open. Is everything alright?" No answer. So I stepped into the room, looked around, and there was this housekeeping lady, clipboard in one hand, leaning above the bed. And to my horror, I saw that the entire bed was covered in prints. Not any prints, prints that would make Gideon drool.
Oh, the Trump prints.
Oh yes. They were extra large prints. And she was staring at them with that glow in her eyes. How to explain this? And I just looked at her. I literally couldn't find any words to tell her or to explain to her what this was about. And she looked at me, horrified, pushed past me out of the door, and on the doorstep she stopped, turned around and said, "Where can I buy this?" And this is not a joke, not even 2 hours later she came out of the dealer's den. Back then we called it the zoo. It was the lower level of the Rimberg. And she came out of the dealer's den into the zoo and had her entire arm full of Cougars liqueurs and was giggling like a child.
You know, upstairs, when my party got broken up by my mom, we were talking about this, and I said, I'm going to tell some war stories. And somebody said, Uncle Kage, why do you never tell any stories that involve you? And I said, well, typically I don't remember them. But I thought I would. This goes to a convention that is not my convention and not this convention. I'm not going to name the convention because of liability. I was attending, I go to a lot of conventions, and I was at one where I was a guest, and an issue arose. In their Artists Alley, okay, we have the dealer's room, which is where you sell merchandise. You have the art show where you display your art, and we also have the Artists Alley where you can draw art on the spot. You create art here. There were rules about Artists Alley. No merchandise. You know, there are very strict rules. Well, there was a dealer. We're just going to call him Mr. G. Mr. G had all sorts of merchandise up there, calendars, CDs, portfolios, some of which was his art, most of it was other people's art. Oh. And the staff came up and said, no, dude, this is not what Artists Alley is for. You're going to have to go. Well, Mr. G got very, I think the German phrase is butthurt. So he started running around to all the younger furries, the folks who were there for the first year and the new dealers, and started trying to foment a revolution. Started explaining to them that the administration of this convention was acting very similar to some political figures of the mid-20th century whose name I dare not say. Not
Trump.
say. I'm not going to say. I will not say who these people were. The Nazis.
You're not talking about Trump, do you?
What?
You're not talking about Trump, do you?
Yes, I am. Oh, sorry. I could be arrested for that. Edit that out. I don't want to be thrown into a gulag. Anyway.
1 million year gulag.
I thought that was real. So he's running around essentially trying to whip up support for himself and get people to yell and scream and pressure the convention into giving him his space back. Okay, I'm a convention organizer. I don't take kindly to that. And the next morning when I woke up, for reasons unknown, I had a terrible hangover. I was feeling very sick. And I was at breakfast trying to get myself going. My head hurt, my stomach hurt, I didn't have an appetite. Fuck off, would you please? Yes, you, fuck off. Thank you. Fans.
You speak better than me, obviously.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you, Dhary, to indulge me a moment in demonstrating what happened. This is not an attack. I was having my breakfast, and this guy came up to me and started yelling and screaming, "This convention is manhandling me!" Oh, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. You'll see. And he started trying to get me to join his side against the convention. And I'm looking at my plate of food, and I put my hands on the table, and I said, "This is not a good time, Mr. G." And he kept at it. You know, you need to use your influence to get these people, or I will shut them down. I lost my temper. I don't often lose my temper. I try not to lose my temper because it's not pretty. I slammed my fist down on the table, swept all of the dishes off, seized him by his lanyard, jacked him up and said, "Now you listen to me." We didn't have the breakaway. "You listen to me, you son of a bitch! You do not fucking come to me and try to get me to get on your side against another bitch. Did you read the rules? Did you read the fucking rules? Read the fucking rules next time!"
I'm horny now.
I threw him down, and when I looked around, the entire restaurant was empty. Everyone had left! And I saw the manager talking to a security guy. I thought, oh, I may have overstepped my bounds. Because right now, the chairman of that convention was getting word on the radio saying the hotel wants Uncle Kage thrown out. Uh-oh. The good thing is I was raised in a capitalist society. I went to the manager and said, very sorry about that. All of the people who left and left their meals here, just bring the bills to me. I'll pay for all the meals. Cost me $1,200 to make that go away. But it did. That is the one and only time I allowed myself to cause a serious problem to another convention. It was all because of Mr. G. That was close. Okay, here's a lesson. Don't try to get one convention organizer to work against another convention. We are all friends. We work together. It's not going to turn out well for you. You're going to wind up on the floor with my hand on your throat, unable to breathe. Just like Mr. G.
Maybe you like that.
Oh, I don't think he did. Okay, actually, I forgot to say, do you know Moriarty? He's an American fursuiter. He has the okapi. I forgot the important part. The important part was I was choking the man, and Moriarty put his arm on me and pulled me back and said, "Let him go, let him go." I forgot that part. I wish Moriarty was here. Because he'd say, "Yep, you're acting like a total asshole."
But we all have it. We all have those moments where we completely lose it. Usually it happens once during a long career. And do you remember Eurofurence?
I remember Eurofurence, of course, the most German-looking non-German I've ever met.
Yeah. He's a walking glass of Guinness, as the British people call him. As his hair is white and he's wearing black all the time. He's the calmest, most level-headed person I know. And I served with him for many, many years. And never, ever did he lose his temper. And we've been tried a lot, a real lot. People bending the rules, people arguing for hours and hours and hours. And one single time, remember that first people I talked about? 2 years before we finally got him, this guy came to us after, I think it was a night after we kicked somebody else out who turned out to be a rapist. So we had that guy arrested and escorted outside, and this pursuit creeper was sharing a room with that guy. Oh, yeah, figure. And he came to us and started arguing, "Why did you kick this person? I never did anything." And he went on for 15 long minutes. And this Europlast, went to this guy, grabbed him by the throat, and lifted him off the ground. And he was choking him. Lo and behold, he was choking him. And this gentleman over there, our gentle giant, had to calm him down. It happened. This one single time he lost it. And this guy is a psychopath. Talking about stuff and losing it. Don't you want to tell the story of, let me begin differently. When I got to Antracon, yes, you always promised that you would introduce me to your stuff. Especially to your Dorsai.
I would.
Now, won't you tell the story of one of your Dorsai leaders getting mugged in the streets?
I could do that. But first, the way you described it, I'm picturing Gyroplast up like this. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
That is the most fitting image of it I've ever met. Do you remember the incident, Roscoe? Oh, yeah, he does.
Das geht aber
Was
gut.
he have 7, 16? 17, yeah.
Eurofurence is just outside the door.
Grab him, please, grab him.
Just Eurofurence.
Mr. Guinness himself.
We're talking about you kidding.
No time.
Oh, sorry, Dick. Okay.
I was
Okay, he must have, he heard, he knew it was coming. Where was I going? What was I going to? Oh, hello. Hey.
Speaking of convention bypass, all of this art is about convention bypass.
Lovely.
Oh, God.
Oh my God, you've been around a while.
That is, yeah, the stuff for nightmares. You wanted to tell a story of...
Oh, what? Oh, it says Laden on it.
Laden called.
Oh, yes. My chief of security is a little man. He's about this tall. He looks like Father Christmas. He's a little roly-poly, pudgy fellow with a white beard and a twinkle in his eye. He just looks like he should be wearing a red suit with his bowl full of jelly and putting his finger in filling stockings with presents. His name is René. He's a little Cajun fellow from New Orleans. René, little Father Christmas, is a former United States Army Airborne Ranger. He did 3 tours of duty in Vietnam. And after the war ended, he didn't have anything to do. He became, I think today you call them an independent defense contractor. I think you used to call them mercenaries.
Mercenaries?
Yes, mercenary. I'll let you tell that to René.
I want to be there to see that thing.
René, there are lots of stories about René. There's one illustrative story I will tell you. René is a very easygoing guy, very Father Christmas, very happy. But if there's a television on in a room and a war movie comes on, René just quietly leaves the room. He won't stay. René was working at a convention in Chicago, which is a very, very safe town if you're Godzilla. He was staying in a hotel there, and the con site was here. That happens with some places in the United States. You have overflow hotels. René was in that hotel. And he was on his way to his security station, and he walked by an alley, and a skinny young man with a knife jumped out of the alley and shouted, "Give it up, old man." And René, walking by, said, "Oh, son, you need a new line of work," and started walking around him. And the skinny young man lunged at René with his knife, and suddenly found himself with his arm wrenched behind his back and his face planted against a trash dumpster. And this little Santa Claus beard in his ear saying, "I told you, son, you need a new line of work." And René let him go and took the knife. And this is the best part of the story. As was explained to me, René got to his duty station at ConOps and opened up a file cabinet drawer and threw the knife in with all the others. I like having him as my security chief. The nice thing is, René will come to me and say, "Kage," he calls me Kage. He says, "I have a few recommendations." I say, "Anything. You need it, make it happen. Just here's your budget, just make it happen." That's kind of how the US military works now that I think about it.
Except you want to build a wall.
Moving right along, your turn.
I mean, Berlin tried that once. It didn't work very well.
Okay, you guys at least fucking built the wall, then you had to tear it down. All right, we can't even get ours built.
And we actually did make the other side pay for it.
Zing! I just got. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I just got. Okay. Yes, very good.
You mean just like our old Nazi coming joke?
Oh, I did not see that coming, no.
Was that confused 3 years ago? 4 years? I did 3
Okay,
years.
if you want to tell the story,
Oh,
you
yes,
can.
please.
I'll just do the funny walk behind you, okay? So, no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, continue.
For 3 years, I used to be the chief of security for Confused as well. And as such, I did the war story panel over there together with Kage. And as it is, let's call it tradition, we were engaging a little banter before the panel started.
We're old friends, we can do this.
And Kage said something about the war. I don't remember what it was, but something. And
I made the comment, and you responded, and then I hit you with my devastating comment. So what did your grandfather used to do?
And I, for the one single time in my life, kept a stone cold poker face and said, "It's not funny, Kage. My grandfather died in a concentration camp." And Kage, knowing the joke, said, "Ha ha ha ha, let me guess, you fell from the guard tower." I kept my cool and said, "No, he shot himself."
I mean, that's not how it went.
I remember, and I said,
No, I don't remember, that's not how it went.
I said the gas bill was too high.
Oh. Okay, that was the second time he's talking. The first time, you had to keep it in order. The first time was, he died in a concentration camp. He fell in the guard tower. Ah! The second time, oh, he fell in the guard tower? No. The gas bill was so high. Do I have to teach you how to tell stories?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, back to your outsiders. Oh, let's talk about weed.
Of who?
Of weed. Marijuana.
Oh, that weed.
That weed. Meow-yuan. We have this wonderful little spot down by the river that we all know.
What are you, bored? Sorry, buddy. Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, to pee.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, let us know if everything comes out okay.
he's coming.
All right, off you go.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yes, we do. Down by the river, we have a lovely little place that we all know where some usual suspects sit down and smoke their stuff. That is okay because that is not on this compound, this is not on convention ground, so I don't give a shit. But every single time we walk past there, they freak out. And I swear, it is a lovely sight to behold when you walk there and you see that picture of stars, of those tiny little glowing orbs flying into the river. And I say, you could share, this shit is expensive. Unfortunately, one of them found it really funny to, have I told you this story?
No.
The CCTV joint?
No!
Somebody was rolling a split right under a 4K CCTV camera. When we had the first launch here in this room right there, in the corner there was a little area that was covered off for the people that felt too shy. And one night we were called over by the CCTV operator and said, hey, Dad, look at the screen. Is that real? And somebody was sitting right there having a large box full of green stuff on one side, papers on the other side, and very slowly and carefully was rolling the biggest split I've ever seen. And I think it...
You had to pee too?
Now he's going to join the other man.
Oh, sorry, go on. They're gonna fuck.
There's much more to that story.
I'm sorry, continue.
It was just a hilarious sight to see his face when we were standing there with 4 security officers right behind him. How stupid can they be?
Dhary, I'm going to say 3 words to you. Close the curtains.
Oh.
Do I need to really explain?
Which one of the many, many incidents?
Afrikaan is in a high-rise hotel, 26 stories high. Next to us is a high-rise office tower, 28 stories tall. It's the Federated Tower. our hotel got a phone call from security at the Federated Tower saying, some people on the 23rd floor are getting a show. Could you look into it? So my hotel called my security. And they said, 23rd floor, facing the Federated Tower. And my security went up to the 23rd floor and they said, okay, this is the side. Likely this one. Security! 60 seconds later, the door opened. There were two young people who were wearing hotel bathrobes, very rapidly placed on. And my security looked past the door and could see through the open window to the Federated Tower to a bunch of office workers. And they said, fellas, you may want to close the curtains. We had no more complaints.
I usually, when I see that, walk to the room, knock and say, shut the curtains or I'll join. I stopped that after a year.
Excuse me, Dhary, why did you stop that after a year?
Remember never to fall in love with a person?
You did, didn't you? Go on!
It's always hard to see what you can tell and what you can't tell just for legal reasons.
All right, you happy then?
Room parties. The clown's car room party.
Wait a minute, the clown's car?
The clown's car room party with Narnia.
You never told me this.
The two people that were so deep in the closet they could see Narnia. Oh god, it was hilarious. I think it was the first or second year here in the Estrell, and it was over in ring number 1. As you see, ring number 1 has that ship's architecture. It's getting really, really steep in the front. So the rooms in the front are very weird in their layout. They have unusable space in the front, like a crawl space. And this crawl space is covered off with a wooden wall with some doors that you can just push aside. Now we got a call at 2 a.m. in the morning saying there is a room party and it's really, really loud. As we do, we walked up, knocked just to tell them to keep it quiet. But the moment they opened the door, 2 people fell out. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Literally, through the door were people. They were stacked, they were pushing against the door. And we asked the guys, this is not okay, fire hazard, there's a safety law here, a maximum of people you can have per room. Please come out of there, this is too crowded. And lo and behold, we were standing there for 15 minutes, watching people walk out while my shoe was going slowly down with every single one. A total of 25 people on 19 square meters. 25, not counting the one in the bathtub. And when the room was finally empty, we grabbed the room owner and said, look, this is not okay, you can't have the room this crowded. If something happens, this is dangerous, it's getting too warm, you have no airflow in here. And the guy said, yeah, it's okay, it's okay. And all the while in the background, we heard So we walked to the cupboard in the rear, the little sliding door I just mentioned. Pushed it aside and remember Narnia with the lion and the witch, just a little bit different? Yeah, that was Narnia.
Incidentally, I just found a £5 note in the pocket of my lab coat, and I don't know how it got there. Did anybody?
That's from your dance last night.
Yeah, this to the charity. I think I know where it came from. I'm going to take you back many, many years because this is an old story. You probably have heard it, but it's worth telling again. If you're a fursuiter, raise your hand, please. It's very important to hang your fursuit to dry, isn't it?
Yes.
Where do you hang it?
Over the bathtub. Not the sprinkler.
I would go right to the sprinkler.
If you are a new fursuiter, maybe somebody new to a hotel, and you go into your room, I want to hang my fursuit to dry. Where can I hang it? Oh, look, this mysterious metallic thing projecting from the wall and or ceiling. Let me just tell you, okay, listen, guys. The fire suppression system incorporates what in English we call a sprinkler. That's the English word. It's not a very good word because that device is intended to put out a major fire in a large structure in a short period of time. The English word sprinkler really should translate in German to the hellish conflagration gusher of doom.
Water cannon.
There was an unnamed convention. It was neither Eurofurence nor Anthrocon. And if I get enough money, I'll tell you which one it was, because I was there.
How much money?
A lot.
Now we're talking.
5, 6, 7, 9, 30, 1,200,000 euros.
$6.
Or $6.
How about 50?
Or £250,000.
50 is worth.
Actually, that might work. That might well.
I got 6 pairs.
Dude, that's green shit. We'll take that. Okay, it was not Megaplex in Florida. It had nothing to do with Megaplex. I know the organizers of Megaplex. I would not embarrass them. Oh, it was fucking Megaplex. Yes, it was. It was so fucking Megaplex. Oh, Jesus Christ. Somebody hung the fursuit from the awful, gushing, conflagration of death. This thing is designed to deliver the maximum amount of water in the minimum amount of time. I have photographs.
Oh, how much?
Give me another one of these.
Okay.
Give me another couple of these. How much is this? Oh, it's $2. You buy some
I have
bubble-
one of these.
I'll take it.
100 rubles?
Oh, it's 100 pesos. Also known as 100 euros. Same thing. Anyway, I'm sorry. Sorry. Where's Ronnie? We have no Canadians here. Sorry, buddy. Someone hung their fursuit from that and broke off the sprinkler head. And yes, these photographs show that the pressure of the water had scoured the ceiling. It tore all of the plaster and everything from the ceiling. And essentially, high pressure destroyed the room. It was on the 5th floor. Gravity sucks. Because there was now damage to the 4th floor, the 3rd floor, the 2nd floor, the 1st floor, the ground floor, as you call it, the 1st sub-basement, and the 2nd sub-basement. Because of the 433 million liters of water that flowed before the fire department could shut it off. They're laughing. They're laughing like I'm making a joke. Oh, Uncle Kage is making that. Okay, it's funny now. And it's funny because it wasn't Anthrocon. And it's funny because it wasn't Eurofurence. It's funny as hell to me. Don't hang your fursuit from that very tempting, jolly, shiny, candy-like hook at the top of the wall. Because the devil himself lives inside that. And the devil is just waiting to drench you in his horrible wet hands. Any questions? By the way, this was not the first time it happened. This goes back to a convention, I believe the convention, it was a science fiction convention in the 1980s in the United States called Disclave. Don't ask me why it was called Disclave. but there had been a discussion at Disclave, a panel, an instructional workshop on,
How to fix sprinklers?
no, I'm trying to remember what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? The Japanese art of suspension bondage.
Oh,
What's that called?
shibari.
Yeah. How'd you know that?
You don't want to know. I know manhandling.
The Japanese art of suspension bondage. There had been a how-to presentation. And some of the attendees thought they would go and practice it in their hotel room. Oh, look, that's a good spot. Disclave had to close down operations and reorganize themselves under a new name. Because anywhere in North America, if they came up and said, "Hi, we're Disclave," "Nein! Verpiss
It's true.
It is true.
They actually love it. Do you have a code name for water incidents, water in rooms?
You're gonna have to be a little more specific. What kind of water?
Distilled water in this case. Oh, so hilarious.
Oh no, if it's just water, we'll say there's a flood.
Yeah.
If it's something else, yes, we have a code name.
Sprinkle line.
Not as such. Code Mario.
Yeah, I think I know that one.
Don't tell anybody, that's a secret. Code Mario is there's water and it's not distilled water.
Yeah, I think
I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, should I? That was a big mistake.
You know, every convention has their own code words for very, very bad shit. We have the code Niagara. That was born.
Niagara?
Yeah, it was born when we got a phone call from a room here in the Estrella, I think the first or second year, saying there's water coming out of my air conditioning vent.
It happens, it's compensation.
That's what we
I
thought.
think it was
23 actually.
Yeah, it was very fun.
Yes.
Okay, you know it's true
Yeah.
because the security guy's saying, "Oh yes, I remember."
Yeah. Oh, 33, okay, anyways, we got a call, there's water coming out of the air conditioning vent. So we went up there, and the little water coming out of the vent was actually gushing down the wall. So it was actually like Niagara. It was just running down the wall right from that large fan, and nobody could explain where it came from. Nobody. There was no condensation there. There was nothing going on in the room. It was just running down, going to the carpet, and it took us half an hour or so to find out that it was coming from the room above. Because those vents are actually interconnected. And the room above, can you imagine what happens if you put a few, first you just in one room and have them
Jump on the spot.
sportive exchange of bodily fluids on the back?
Oh,
It was literally condensed sweat in such an amount from the room upstairs to the The good Froschfotzen later is something that...
I'm sorry, what was that? Excuse me, what?
We call it Froschfotzen later. Frog, cunt, or pussy killer?
Never mind, I don't want to know.
You know the person.
I'm sorry. Oh. All right, it's your story. Go ahead.
Year 14?
Go ahead. Not my story, yours. Go ahead. I know nothing. I am absolving myself of blame.
We learn quickly things. Usually. If something goes wrong the next year, we try to fix it. Eurofurence 13, we had a person running around. Oh God, no, not the picture. Oh,
God, yes. Yes, I know, yes. That.
We had a person running around in the lobby in a full body latex or a rubber or vinyl costume, whatever it was, inflated as a frog. A very, very round frog. With all accessories necessary.
A very excited round frog. He had all the accessories.
Yeah, even those not normal with amphibians, I guess. Anyways, this gentleman was walking around the lobby with that very inflated
Ego.
ego is a good word.
Someone had put chemicals in the water.
Ah, yeah, of course.
They
It
turned
took
the
a while.
freaking
It took a while for us to get him off the screen. If you want to see the photo, I think a little bit more of the green stuff, it might be quite nice.
I still want to see the pictures of the Megaplex water accident.
Oh, I was going to get them.
He paid for it.
How much time do we have?
Half an hour left.
Oh, we have half an hour left? I'm going to excuse myself briefly because, as you say in Deutsch, ich muss pissen.
I'll let you know if everything comes out all right.
Good.
Decent bake, yeah?
Yes.
Would you like to hold it?
I can't do it, sorry.
I'll be right back. Me?
The next
On your right, Kage. That's the closest.
This one here?
Yes.
Get straight to that.
Oh, yeah.
Don't drink from it again. Anyways, the gentleman was walking through the lobby and it took us like 15 minutes to push down the shock and actually get him outside. The next year, even though we literally told him never ever show this in public again, he came out of the elevator again. Eurofurence 14, Saturday evening, and suddenly this big green ball was coming in the lobby, and it took us less than 20 seconds, and he was pushed back into the elevator. It was too easy, actually.
Did he roll?
It was the same year a guy, let's call him Mr. L underscore, you remember him? Very, very old friend of Eurofurence. Had the wonderful idea, because the bar prices were too high for him, to put his own fucking keg next to the bar and serve his own beer. Or sell cans of beer in the lobby. Wonderful person, really. That was the same guy that actually started a petition against the first lounge crew. Good, which if you remember. Oscar, I have a wonderful idea. Since this is Eurofurence's 25th year, it's a quarter of a century with this convention. How about we get the one person that actually seen it all and have him tell a story?
Yeah.
I'm sure anyone wants to know the story about how he got electrocuted.
So almost every Eurofurence has its own special events and stories, and so
Mike.
name a number.
Mike,
Microphone.
Drei.
lift the mic up.
Five.
One. Eurofurence 5. Okay. Eurofurence 5 was held. Was the first Eurofurence held in Berlin at the Müggelsee, and we had the problem. It was about here the size of 100 people. That's what about the size of here 100 people. We booked the whole convention site exclusively for us, and said, yeah, we are 100 people. We want to get the whole on-site for the lobby. This was about half a year before the con took place, and the landlord of this site said, "Oh, I have seen many conventions. When this comes to time when this convention takes place, about say 40% cancel the reservations and have 20% empty spaces. I will make no bargain of it." So he started to give places away, and then when the con should take place, 100 people showed up. We want to claim our beds. And the landlord said, "Sorry, I have only 80, and we are all here. We had booked for it. We have booked the concert exclusively." Okay, I will stack you there. And he went to a supermarket and bought some
Deck chairs.
deck chairs. Yes, and put it into the spread it on the cabin and stacked additional attendees there. Okay, 1 point. These 20 people, we had to share the concert with, were Kanutis,
Rollers.
Kanuten.
Yeah, canoes.
Canoes, genau. They were in canoes, and they had a trailer to transport the canoes. And the concert was, Berlin is built on Lössboden with a tiny layer of green grass, and there are paved ways to all these houses where the scout site is placed, and their trailer for these canoes was standing in the way, and the trash disposal came and wanted to get rid of the trash, want to collect the trash to get the concept rid of it, and there was this trailer standing in the way. And they didn't hesitate, they took a short turn and wanted to go with their waste bin truck over this very loose sand with this thin layer of green grass, and they buried their truck to the ankles in this sand and couldn't move back and forth, and the truck was stuck. They called additional trucks in from the city and tried to pull it out. It all failed. When they finally got a big Kranwagen, a big crane, towing truck to pull it out from the lawn. Meanwhile, it had itself dug into so deep, it was sitting with the chassis on the lawn. It was quite a bit of work to get it off the lawn.
Oh, and pictures. If people want pictures, the site has pictures.
Yes.
Kage, do you remember technology?
No. I invented the word technology.
This was EF9.
EF9? By the way, I want to take exception. It is very, very difficult for an American to navigate Germany. Why does the toilet say "Nur für Personal" on it?
Did you just piss in the elevator again? Yes, you flushed it and went up.
I pushed the button and yes. Just
Clean up on aisle 4, please.
Again.
EF9? Do you know why they call it EF9? EF9! But I told this story at Uncle Kage's story hour.
Yeah.
Oh, I told it from my viewpoint. Maybe we should hear it from someone else's point of view. EF9.
Oh, this was here a bit rainy, and the electrician drowned, and everything was undercurrent. You could also say so.
The main stage was in a tent back then, and the entire campsite was flooded with water. So everything was on the live current, as were the tent's pole, as were the tent poles. And I remember a certain gentleman leaning against the pole and Scheiße!
I think his name was Cheetah.
He liked it.
Cheetah still every year goes back to Samopsha to relive that experience.
I thought it was roughly the way.
What else do we have?
Das ist Herr Bürgermeister.
Okay.
I call him Herr Bürgermeister because this gentleman, when he dresses in business attire, he looks like he should be the Chancellor of Germany. He is one of the most amazing, except he can't do this.
Rashka is one of our security press officers for the very reason that nobody, not even the most ambitious, the most audacious reporter would dare to move a muscle if he is looking over his shoulders.
You know, he should have been the press officer when you were in Magdeburg. Okay, you had a good press officer in Magdeburg, but it was a person who needed more experience because it was Sunday morning, and Sunday morning, I have to get rid of this stuff because I can't take it home. So by about 10 o'clock, I had to dispose of about 5, 10, 12, a lot of bottles of wine. I had disposed of them. And I am Uncle Kage. And their press officer came to me and said, oh, Uncle Kage, I need your help. Sure, I can. Where are we going? Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, God, the sky's so blue. Yeah, that's the ceiling. Oh, I like your ceiling. Like, he brought me up to this man. I'm like, oh, hi. Oh, dude. Oh, that's a kick-ass mustache. It's not as good as Hitler's, but goddamn, I like my mustache. And the press officer said, das ist der Bürgermeister von Magdeburg. I said, oh, sprechen Sie English? He said, nein. I said, gut. And afterward, I went to the press officer, dude, it's the fucking mayor of the city. Why did you... Couldn't you see that I was drunk off my ass? He said, no, he couldn't tell the difference.
You know, obviously you didn't do any damage, because do you remember Eurofurence 19, the first year parade?
Was I sober?
No, hopefully not. Right over there.
Oh my God, yes, I'm sorry.
Right over there is the gentleman that runs the first department, and he, back in Magdeburg, had the most wonderful parades that you could have. The city loved us. They really did. And these gentlemen, he and his team pulled off one of the biggest parades I've ever seen. I had the honor to secure. Unfortunately, it was straight through the city of Magdeburg. So we were crossing a few multi-lane streets with, how many fursuiters? 1,000 or so?
About 1,000 fursuiters with, I guess you're coming to visitors.
Louder!
We stopped the tram line for this, but that's your story for now. I will
So yeah, about 1,000 fursuiters on 3-4 kilometers through the city, multi-lane traffic, tram lines in between, and me and 40 security officers had to actually navigate this parade through that. A logistical nightmare. We pulled it off. It worked relatively well until we reached what was called the Hundertwasserhaus, which is basically an art building, Art Deco, a really beautiful thing. But there was a tram line again, and lots of traffic, and the car drivers actually got annoyed. Suddenly, 3 buses full of police officers stopped next to me. Oh God, I was shit myself. So, okay, this is over, they're going to shut us down, and out came this big birdie police officer, 4 stars on his shoulder flap, came to me and said, where do you need us? Magdeburg loved us.
The media has it that they had at that day about 40,000 spectators for this first parade.
People from all over Germany came to Magdeburg to see our bloody fursuit parade.
All the kindergarten has the day off and making an excursus to Magdeburg to see the first parade from all over the country. Because on the day before it was announced in the news weeks and in the news on the television that day would be the last time that Eurofurence is hosted in Magdeburg, and this is the last time this first parade would take place. And yeah, so from all over the country they joined there.
Guys, you could have been the Pittsburgh of Germany. Why didn't you run with it?
Because we had triple-stack rooms. In the middle of bloody Magdeburg, nothing was fitting anymore.
We're furries, we don't mind.
It's called a bear pile.
Have you ever known that the Ringberg Hotel offered not only to open and renovate their upper floor, but also to camp on both of the parking lots if you would stay?
I'm aware of that, and I also know that the reason that didn't work was, and you remember this, that upper floor was not safe to occupy because it was built during the, shall we say, the previous administration.
It was a GDR building, actually, Stasi office.
Okay, if that building caught fire, everybody would die. I'm serious, there was no way out. There were no emergency exits.
You couldn't enter this floor without the elevators. There were no stairs up there. So if it would be burning, you would be fucked, literally. The stairs, however, in the ring, but remember the bunker under the hotel?
Oh, here's a bunker!
That was amazing.
I mean the bunker. Under, yeah. Yeah. We call it the...
Storage number 9. One of the oldest security war stories that we have. There was 4 staircases in the hotel. 3?
5. There were 5. Because there was the one that if you went down, there was no way out.
This hotel was built on a mountain during the GDR times. And it was actually used for the old state security as a meeting point. And you can imagine how a communist meeting point would look like. There was a 2-story bunker underneath the hotel inside the mountain. Beautiful place. The only issue is that one of the normal staircases went all the way down past the ground floor because the door was locked into the bunker. And we had more than once an attendee calling for help from down there because he had no idea how to get out anymore.
Hello.
You went down there on your own.
Because, okay, oh look, a stairway down. It must go to where I want to go, and suddenly there are no doors. I'm so fucking serious. It was a Venus flytrap.
It was hilarious. And down there was one corridor. I will never forget that. I went down there myself to actually get attendees out of there. There was one corridor down there that was just going on for half a kilometer out in the mountain, and there were doors left, right. All of them were numbered. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then was there 8, 10, 11, 12. Yep, 8, 10, 11, 12. Number 9 was shut off. It was bricked. It was just walled up. We never knew why, but ever since we have that story of storage number 9. So when you get banned from Eurofurence, you go down to storage number 9. Now that we're bigger, we actually have a trash compactor on the roof.
Actually, did you ever find out what was behind number 9?
No, never.
I actually spoke to Wolfgang Koenig. You remember Wolfgang?
Yeah, of course.
The Grand Chef. And I said, Herr Koenig, could you please tell me about room number 9? And he said, I don't know. I own the hotel. He said, I don't know what's down there. And I said, well, why don't we get some jackhammers and break into it? And he said, you can, because what's down there might be poison gas. Call me when you find out.
You're laughing. It's not
Okay. I loved Herr Koenig.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was the only person who saw through my disguise. At Sylvester.
Oh, shit.
When the smelly old man, Gunther, the old bum, went to the New Year party. This bent old man with sunglasses and scraggly hair and a hat that came down a long coat, and all Gunther said was, 4 piece dish. The smelly old man showed up at the furry New Year party. Of course, Gunther was. Gunther first revealed himself to Kage and Dhary in the car, driving in the back seat, going to the New Year party. When Night Fox got out, and the old man said, "Hey, it's good night." And Tanya looked in the rearview mirror, and the old smelly man said, "Ich bin kein Deutscher." And she said, "Oh my God, Uncle Kage," and threw her arms around the seat and broke my ribs. I love you too.
Oh, it was her. No.
When we got it, this was the joke. No one was to know. And I told Tanya, only you and Night Fox know. Only you and Night Fox know. Gunther is. So we got to the Ringberg, and Tanya said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "I want to go to the bar." get Andre for me. So the smelly old man went to the bar and said, get me a glass of white wine. And Gunther, danke. But then the barman came over. It wasn't Andre. I wanted Andre Opitz. Deutsch, 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 Deutsch. Ein Problem, ich bin Amerikaner. Opitz? Nein, Opitz, Deutsch, 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 Deutsch. Opitz? And the barman said, bitte warten Sie, Opitz kommt, She went off, and the smelly old man sat there. And then there was Andre, my old friend, the legendary barman of the Ringberg. He came over. It was New Year's. He had his tuxedo on, his very expensive tuxedo. He came by. Hallo, ja, ich bin Andre Opitz. And the smelly old man said, Herr Opitz, setzen Sie. Herr Opitz, ich bin kein Deutscher. Ich bin ein dummer Amerikaner. And Andre said, oh nein, ist keiner Kage. Oh nein, ist keiner Kage. And the smelly man said, yes, it is. Shh. Only you and Tani and Night Fox. So everyone else, shh. No one knows. Only you and Tani and Night Fox. So don't say anything. Just, oh yes. Oh, Uncle Kage, I'm so good to see you. I'll see you later. So the smelly old man sat down and said, And as the smelly old man was looking out the window, in the reflection of the window, here was Herr Wolfgang Koenig, very, very aristocratic, very high class, walking back and forth, looking at the smelly old man. What is this doing in my hotel? And Gunther was sitting there saying, uh-oh. And Herr Koenig leaned down on the chair and said, in English, is that white wine? And the smelly man said, oh, only you and Tani and Night Fox and Andre.
Little did you know at that point that Andre Opitz would take revenge.
Would he?
Oh yes. May I remind you, Eurofurence? I think it was 16 or 17.
Oh! Yes!
There was this panel, I think it was science versus bullshit or something like that.
Einen Moment, ich habe ein Problem.
What happened to Gunther?
What?
What happened to Gunther?
What happened to Gunther?
Yeah.
I put Gunther into the charity auction. The scraggly gray wig and the sunglasses and the smelly coat. Gunther, I think, got 55 euros at the charity auction. But oh yes! Oh, was it here? Oh, was it Magdeburg?
It was Magdeburg. Long ago, actually.
It was Magdeburg. Uncle Kage. Oh, I'm Uncle Kage. I'm American. I'm drunk and I'm making noise with my face and I'm making American accents. And here I am doing American things. And then...
And suddenly a fursuiter comes in.
A fursuiter comes in the back. Stalking. Like a wolf. It was a wolf fursuit stalking. Coming up to me and I'm thinking, I'm going to continue making American noises, but who is this fursuiter? And this fursuiter stalked up to to me and put his hands on me and whispered, "Du bist ein dummer Amerikaner." I said, "Nein! Nein, it's kein Opus!"
And before you laugh, the video's on YouTube.
Andre will be here tomorrow.
You can
I look forward to it. What time is it?
7 minutes.
7 minutes to what?
7 minutes to go, actually.
I will talk to the set about the oatmeal story.
Oh, the oatmeal story. I can't tell the oatmeal story because that belongs to a colleague of mine, Alkali. I want to bring Alkali to Eurofurence because I think you'll like him. But I spoke to your executive staff, and they're afraid that Alkali has such a heavy American accent no one will understand him. Well, that's silly. There's no such thing as an American accent.
Or a British one.
Do I have an American accent?
Yeah.
Do I have an American accent?
Yes.
And Bürgermeister, have I an American accent?
Yes, you have.
I believe him. What does an American accent sound like?
Not British.
Not British?
Better than Scottish, that's for sure.
An American accent is the best accent. You're gonna love this accent. Everyone loves this accent. It's the greatest accent ever. Like that?
No.
Sad.
We only have a little bit of time. We should get some really good, juicy stories. Now, you're the local fellas. You must have something that these people would love to know that you have never told, and maybe it's time the world became aware.
Do I really want to send them all to the shrink?
Yes.
Herr Raschka? Ja.
The Lippischen? The Lippischen?
He said, do it.
Okay. The Lippischen. It was back in Magdeburg. There was a fursuiter lady who was very...
Pretend you're sucking it.
I'm sorry, that was this.
Pretend it's me.
Okay.
Put it in your mouth, boy.
There was a fursuiter lady that was actually very keen on showing off her female sides. And Misty you might actually remember that. Maybe that's why it's leaving the room. She had breasts.
Most women do, you know.
That was not the issue.
Old man.
Which one?
She had very visible primary female distinctions on the fursuit. Yeah, some do. This woman actually had labia flaps on her fursuit, like 20 centimeters long.
Oh my, no.
And she was running through the lobby with her. We called her the picture.
These people will judge.
Of course they judge, rightfully so.
I'm sorry, there was a sidebar here. This gentleman was trying to sully the good name of my innocent, sweet mother. But finish your story and then we'll deal with him.
Oh, the story is actually pretty much done.
I missed it, I was dealing with it.
Good.
He showed me a photoshopped picture that was purported to show my little old mother in a bondage circumstance with fursuiters. It is so obviously photoshopped, you can look at the pixels.
Do I want to know why?
No.
I am very sorry.
Not yet.
And the sad part is, right now, that old bitch is up there drinking my sake in my room with my guests, and I'm down here dealing with you people.
You have sake.
And why am I not invited?
You are.
Because you're down here too.
You have sake.
Yes, you were invited to one of the room parties, remember? It was the year that my late respected father died. It was my mother's first Eurofurence without him. Her first Eurofurence alone. And I was very worried because after almost 60 years of marriage, how does one carry on? Tobias, all these good friends of mine here, I said, could you please keep an eye on my mother? I'm very worried. I want to make sure that everything is okay. She came to me on Friday during dinner time and said, can you please come to my room tonight at 2100? And I said, yes, of course. I thought she needed help with her necklace because it's difficult to open the clasp. Yes, of course, Mother. I will come to your room at 2100. I will help you. So I rode the lift at 2100. And when the lift opened, the first thing I heard was and I looked down, it was full of fog. I looked down the corridor, which was choked with fog, and there was a door that was open, and laser lights were coming out, and her little mobility scooter was sitting outside. And I went into the room, and it was so loud I couldn't hear myself think, BBF was in there doing that, and the lasers were going, and I had trouble seeing, and the fog was stinging my eyes, and I couldn't hear. So I left, because I'm old. I wanted to go to bed and sleep. So I went into the hallway. I could feel that the oil, the ethylene glycol, oh God. And my ears were echoing and my eyes were stinging. And I went to the lift. And I pushed the lift. And the door opened, and here are these two. I looked down the hall. Ein, zwei. Oh, she's in trouble. The next morning, I saw her at breakfast. And I walked over to her table and said, "Oh, Mutti. I saw security going to your room last night." She said, "Oh yes, they stayed about 2 hours."
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
A lovely lady.
You didn't have to grow up with her.
No, but I had to chase her.
I don't want to know.
But we do.
On the first year of Eurofurence here in the Estrella, we thought, okay, this building is big. It's really big. We all need scooters, mobility scooters, to get from A to B without dying constantly. So our board of directors had a wonderful idea of actually getting scooters for all of us. And we were driving through the lobby and back and forth. It was hilarious because tons of damage to the car, but it was really good. It was a good year. The insurance claim was like 4,000 euros. It was really good. And I distinctly remember one evening I saw one of those big mobility scooters driving by really, really fast. Next to me. And I saw white hair flying and jumping out of the way. And I grabbed one of my colleagues and said, okay, back, stop her. And at the very same moment, I turned around and said, you go and contact the board of directors. Kage's mother is on the loose. Nobody else but Cheetah was driving past me. That was so good.
The very first year at Ampercon, when we got her because my little old mother, She's very old. She's very frail. She's very weak. We got her mobility scooter because, oh, it's so difficult for me to walk. That started here at Eurofurence. Because one of the years, I think it was the first year at Magdeburg, when we arrived, my mother, who has always been a very strong person, a very athletic person, we got off the aircraft and she was moving very slow. I was very worried. This very strong woman was having trouble walking. And we went a short distance. This was at Frankfurt Flughafen. And she sat down and said, I can't go any further. I said, well, Mom, what's wrong? She said, and she started to cry.
No.
She said, I don't know, I don't understand, I just can't do it. I said, I'll get you a wheelchair. She said, no, wheelchairs are for feeble old people, I don't want a wheelchair. And she was sobbing and she was miserable, and I said, we have to get you there, and she was pleading with me, please don't get me a wheelchair. But I didn't have a choice. I went to the Hilfe button, and I pushed the Hilfe button, and ich benötige eine Rollstuhl für meine alte Mutter. Ja, bitte, bitte. And about 10 minutes later, here came the wheelchair, driven by Franz. Franz was 2 meters tall, 21 years old, blonde hair, shoulders like this, narrow waist. You could see his pectorals under his uniform. He came up and said, Frau Conde? And she said, oh, look at you. Oh my. And Franz, put her in the wheelchair, was wheeling her in, and she was saying, oh. My father was just. Every year after that, we get off the aircraft and Mother would say, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, it's Franz. That's when they started getting the mobility scooters. We got one at Anthrocon. And I knew it was a mistake. Because that very first year, there was another gentleman, an older gentleman. I'm afraid he's gone now. Time gets all of this. This gentleman also had a mobility scooter. And he came to me, this little note, very slow. He came up to me and said, Uncle Kage, I encountered your mother in the concourse. I said, oh yes? What did she say? He said, she rolled up next to me and said, do you want to drag? They think I'm making this up. Right now, she is upstairs with the Japanese contingent drinking all of my sake. I just want you to know, I'm down here for you guys. I'm losing my sake to that old bitch right now, so I hope you appreciate it.
Yes.
Your turn. Ja, du.
Uncle Kage?
Yeah.
Serious question. How
Yeah.
much German do you know?
None.
About 20 centimeters.
I only know as much as I am given. I know.
That's only 5 inches.
Okay. I know how to say fine. I know how to say weiß Wein. I know how to say geben Sie mir Wein. I know how to say, geben Sie mir Wein jetzt. I know how to say, geben Sie mir Wein jetzt, bitch. I told this story at Indianapolis, in a furry convention in Indianapolis in the United States. Geben Sie mir Wein jetzt, bitch. Isn't that funny? And the bartender came up and she said, what did you just say to me? I said, here's $20. Geben Sie mir Wein jetzt, bitch.
Wait,
Yeah?
what about that story when you went to the airport to bring some stuff for me? I made
Oh.
this man smuggle.
Oh, yes. I've forgotten about your little habit.
Your mother actually reminded me the other day because she said you're talking about me at Anthrocon.
Yes, you may. Dhary, you don't seem to realize how much you show up in my story hour at
I actually
Anthrocon.
didn't. I'm pretty sure we'll find out at the 4th of July next year.
Perhaps you will. Dhary sent me an email. Oh, Uncle Kage, I like Monster Energy drink. I said, I'm sorry. He said, can you get Monster Nitrous for me? I said, well, maybe. Can you not get it there? He said, it's very difficult. Can you get some for me? So I went to the various stores. I said, do you have Monster Nitrous? And I found some stores had it. And you know, my wine carrier, I have a suitcase specifically designed to carry wine. And I filled it with Monster Nitrous. 16 or 20 or 24 bottles worth. Usually when I arrive in Germany, the customs agents don't ask me any questions. This time they did. They called me aside and they said, what is in this case? And I answered, I thought I was being honest. I said, it's protein drinks for health. And they said, why do you need protein drinks? And I said, well, I'm an old man. I have to do it so I can have sex with people. They're laughing. They think I'm making this up. So the man said, okay, go, get out. And I told this to this man. I said, here's your stupid protein drinks. Why did you need to... What was the purpose? Why did I have to do this? Why couldn't you get it yourself? And he said, oh, they're illegal in Germany.
Sorry, not sorry. Hey, that's how stories are born, isn't it?
You must have... Okay. You've been around since the beginning. You must have something.
Yes. Okay. It's about, about drinking.
It always is, isn't it?
Eurofurence grew over the years bigger and bigger, and after Europe's largest youth hostel was too small, we turned to a hotel. This was Eurofurence 13, the first hotel, the Ringberg Hotel.
The unlucky 13.
The unlucky 13, right. And over the years we learned we have several attendees from Russia and Australia, and they're all heavy drinkers, and we had quite some consume. And when we returned to the hotel, we reminded them, stock up. We have some heavy drinkers, they consume quite a bit. Oh yes, okay, we stock up, and our stock will last for the whole year, I thought.
This would be a pipeline.
first evening, Thursday, 2000 hours, the bar was empty. Empty.
He's not joking.
So all these thirsty furs started to flood into the zoo. And additional, I think, 3 bars had to close down because they were all dry.
There was a beer lorry coming up from the valley all the way to the mountain to refill the bloody bar.
They realized that all the stock was gone. They scheduled for the whole convention, and so, oh, we underestimated it a bit. Okay, with this experience that the whole stock of the whole convention was consumed in the first evening, we stock up now. So they stocked up, they thought. At that evening, Friday evening, 2200 hours, the bar was empty. Again. And they again, these thirsty furs went to Zul, and another 2 bars had to close down. Drunk dry. And the steakhouse Crazy Horse had to also shut down because it was eaten out. Okay, that's
There are 3 sentences every convention organizer has heard multiple times in his life. Yes, insurance will cover this. Yes, we have enough alcohol here. No, you will never fill this hotel.
In this whole history of the Ringberg Hotel, Eurofurence was the first convention who completely booked out the hotel. So, once. Saturday morning, after the disaster of Friday evening, they tried to fill up, but all the beverage traders were also sold out. They have to go to Halle and Leipzig to fill up.
Barkeepers were buying booze at the bloody gas station next door because it's hilarious.
It was.
I got another one. Alcohol. As you might know, I'm doing decorations, at least the technical part for Eurofurence, for quite a while. The first year in Magdeburg, we were thinking about how to decorate the really, really high room. It was like 6, 7 stories high and just a glass roof, and around it, the galleries with all the rooms. So it was just a really, really high and empty hall. We had no idea what to do, and the only thing we could afford at the time was a very, very large-ass mirror ball to hang in that lobby, and then shoot light on there. Now, the first year in the Magdeburg Hotel, our stage tech provider brought his apprentice along. The apprentice was barely 18 and had never ever seen the first Eurofurence convention or anything of that sort, and was supposed to stay the night. So the supplier for stage tech got the wonderful idea, here Dhary, take him along when you hang the mirror ball up there and show him how to do this. So I took him up there, I had stuff with him. In the evening, I was on duty for security. I got called about 2 a.m. There is a young person in the piano bar, again with the piano bar, who refuses to go and is pissed drunk. I went in there, thought, still that call, okay, let's talk with him, let's go on out. I went there and saw his apprentice sitting there, being high up, he was bamboozled, he was, what do you Brits always like to say? He was tankard, he was knackered, he was gone.
He was fucked.
He was.
Okay, no. He was literally distracted. He refused to go, and I said, shit, he knows me. If I go there now, the situation will escalate, he will start talking to me for far too long. I don't have time for this shit. So I thought to play cool. I went there, took my security badge off, and said, hey, buddy, hey, they threw us out. Hey, let's go somewhere else. Let's have a drink on a room or so. Let's come on. I was playing drunk myself, and it actually worked. He walked with me to the door of the piano bar, and he was looking upstairs, and suddenly he turned around to me and said, "The moon? I hung with Dhary? Was big. That was the last I've ever seen of him."
Gentlemen, Rashkar mentioned Pension Crazy Horse. At the foot of the Ringberg Mountain was a little tiny pension, restaurant and hotel. The Crazy Horse, an American-themed restaurant. That was funny. For us, trust me. But the evening after, was it the last Eurofurence there, or the first or the third? I don't know. Word was passed, the staff are going to go down to the Crazy Horse and have a post-convention dinner. Somehow the word got spread that everyone was going down to Pension Crazy Horse for dinner. The Crazy Horse had enough seating for, if I had to estimate, I would say maybe 60 people. 500 people showed up. It's a family-run establishment. You know, Herr Crazy Horse, Frau Crazy Horse, and their daughter Crazy Horse. and the daughter's boyfriend, who was there were 4 people employed, and 500 furries showed up.
Without announcement.
Just blam! They tried their best. Oh my God, there weren't enough seats. There wasn't enough staff. Some people were getting served, other people were still... It was a nightmare.
An American has never seen a German fight so hard since D-Day.
I didn't say it. The Danes said it. It was funny. I was there, we had some other comedians there, and we were making jokes because to us it was funny. Because everything was going wrong. You know, the food would come out and it wouldn't be the right food, and then the food would come out and people would have gotten bored and left. And it was funny until the young lady, the daughter of the family, burst into tears and started to cry. Then it wasn't funny anymore. Then the furries did what furries do. I got up and I went to the bar and I looked at the dishwashing station. And I said to the boss, "How does this work?" And he showed me, so I spent the evening washing dishes. My mother was waiting tables. Other furries were taking orders. We became employees. We ran the restaurant. But even so, a lot of people got mad and they left. They put in their order and they would leave. There were about 75 meals that were prepared, and the people were not there to eat them or pay for them. Now, this establishment, at the end of the evening, is this the impression we want them to have of furries? I was there with Jibba, a giant black man, another American. 75 meals had not been paid for. And I said to the boss, bring them to us. We're American. We'll eat them all. Bring us the bill. We'll pay for them. Oh, we tried. We ate about 55 meals. As 2 Americans. That's as far as we got. But we paid for those meals. I never told you this. That was about 1,000 euros. But I paid it. You know why? You know why? I paid 1,000 euros for those meals because I wanted this restaurant to remember this evening with a smile and say, oh my God, that was a lot of fun. I didn't want them to remember, oh shit, when the furries came here, it was a nightmare. Do I want to be paid back? No. I don't need to be paid back because I got a damn good feeling out of that. If you try to pay me back, then you'll be buying that good feeling back and it's not for sale. I'm going to have more booze right now if that's okay because I'm in trouble standing up.
Years later, Eurofurence moved away from the Ringberg Hotel and another convention grew bigger at the east. And they were looking for a new spot to take their convention to. And it was the Ringberg Hotel. They come there, oh, we are a convention, we want to book your hotel, so can we go there? So, we are furries. Okay, no problem. The people wanted to look, can we go to the Crazy Horse? Is it open? No, it is shut down because the company, Betriebsferien?
Business holidays?
Business holidays, exact for the time of the East Convention, the Furry Convention, following the Eurofurence there. And when they heard of it, the furries are coming back to the Ringberg Hotel, and they want to eat at the Crazy Horse. They moved their company holidays to accommodate them. Yes? And they were booked out.
When furries start changing the corporate culture, you know we've made it. How much time do we have left?
Gone over.
What?
Minus 26 minutes.
Minus 20? Help me, I'm American. How does that
You've
work?
gone over by 26 minutes.
3:12.
Do you mean we're over time?
Yes.
Yes.
At what time are we forced to stop?
Whenever you want.
Saturday, 4 in the morning.
When you're out of wine.
Exactly.
Caution, that floor. Okay, raise your hand if you get a laugh when I say, caution, that floor. Oh, they're so young.
Oh.
We need like a highlight video from previous years. Let's talk to Cheetah. I'm sure he would love to make a highlight video from previous years. He might have it ready by the time I'm dead. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Not everything is running on Pop Extra time, you know.
Oops, sorry, that's fine.
I don't know how. That might be a signal that we're just about finished.
We must be entertained, they're still here.
Okay, they ain't left, so I'm going to keep going until they leave. So, okay, there's a giant pile of money here. I'm going to, okay, I trust you guys, maybe. I'll spend at the bar if nobody else does, so make sure you get
How's the
and
sake?
that one, don't forget that one.
Kage, how's
Yeah.
the sake?
What?
How is the sake?
It's inside me, and I like that. This is, okay, the Japanese, is anybody, does anybody speak the Japanese language? Okay, the Japanese have a phrase to, okay, this This is very, very high quality sake. There's a Japanese phrase. The Japanese would say, this is gurushito. The Japanese would say, oh, gurushito. And that's what I shall say right now. And right now, the Japanese are in my room drinking my sake, saying, this is gurushito. And my mother's saying, have some more, and it's fine. And I'm...
You're tired, aren't you?
I made the offer. Okay, the entire Japanese delegation is in my hotel room right now. And I said, oh, we could all go down and enjoy this panel, or you could stay here and drink sake, and nobody came down with me.
That was a mistake.
You should have said there was sake here for you.
I am starting to believe that that was a tactical error.
You should have brought it with you.
What?
You should have brought it with you.
They'd have followed.
He used to run
What?
He used to run Newton for our smarting.
Oh, that is beautiful music.
Blow the hole.
When that glass is done, I'm going to bed. I don't know about you guys. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What are you guys drinking?
Nothing anymore now.
There should still be some blue.
Am I the only one drinking up here?
Oh, I'm blue.
There's nothing left.
There's some in the blue.
Yeah, there's something here. How about the toothbrush of shame?
What?
Sorry, it's the toothbrush of shame.
I don't remember the toothbrush of shame.
I think I never told the story, to be honest.
Then maybe it's time you did.
The toothbrush of shame was caused by a Russian lady that didn't know when to stop.
Sorry.
Brings back too much memories.
Don't mind me. You just described the entire Cold War. I'm sorry. Please continue. Please continue.
Read you the story altogether. This Russian lady had booze. Lots of booze, cheap booze, and she was just gone. And she found it to be a wonderful idea, as she was an artist, to take a henna marker, one of those like a marker pen, and start drawing really explicit artwork on the facade of the hotel. That was Eurofurence 17, and she literally made an artwork with 4 square meters or so on the facade, right next to the main entrance of the hotel, with 2 square meters being nothing but dick. Gurkhas and I used to be a joint head of security, and we were a good cop and a bad cop. I was there to say, off with their heads! And Gurkhas would say, nah, he just killed, so that's okay. That's belittling. So we sat down and said, how do we punish her? What can we do to make her understand that this is not okay? Do you know mirror punishment? Doing something as a punishment that actually mirrors the act itself? Like cutting off your hand when you steal something? Barbaric, isn't it? We gave her a toothbrush, some soap water, and had her scrub the facade of the hotel for 1.5 hours. And she was scrubbing. It's on YouTube if you don't believe me. She was scrubbing for 1.5 hours later, a group has turned around to me and said, do you think she suffered enough? Do you think she learned her lesson by now? Maybe. Eurofurence just gave her some alcohol and wiped everything off in one way. That was the toothbrush of shame. She understood.
I'm sorry, Daria, I don't understand. How did you describe this punishment again?
Mirror punishment?
Mirror punishment. She was drawing dicks. Should you not have had her... Should you give her a talk?
That's the sloppy talking.
Well, but shouldn't she have been cleaning the...
You're not polishing that one now.
But it's a mirror punishment. If she's drawing dicks, shouldn't she be scrubbing?
Welcome to the AD work.
I'm just curious. He started started it. You did start it. You invaded Poland. Oh, I'm sorry.
Kage, I
Yeah?
think this guy wants to tell you something.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Are you Dutch?
No,
You're very tall.
thank you.
Dutch people are tall. You notice this if the dike breaks, they'll survive. What can I do for you?
Your time is up.
Talk to him. He's the one with the red lanyard.
Yeah,
I
I have one too.
just have a, what does this mean?
Start. No,
Stop.
there's a following panel after you, and it has started
Oh,
now.
Alles, wir müssen aufgefuckt jetzt. Wir wollen fucken Sie off the, go this way. Thank you all very much. We'll leave the booth here. Oh, wait,